There's Chris.
Okay.
Chris.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm the chair of your Public Works, Parks, Recreation, and Environment Committee. My name is Kelly Bilodeau, and I'm going to call the meeting to order of March 27th at 6 p.m. Tonight, joining me is Council President Shirley Surgeon, a voting member, as well as Councilman Gale, a voting member. Other members in attendance or other folks in attendance are Director of Public Works, Chris Hayes, attorneys from the Corporation Counsel's Office, Danielle Combs and Jim Delvisco. The first item we have on the agenda tonight is a resolution by Councilwoman Melly Rosado, Councilman John Gale, and Councilman Amilcar Hernandez. It is a resolution for the establishment of a dog park in downtown Hartford. The maker of this resolution has requested this to be moved back to the full council so that it can be withdrawn. At this time, I would entertain a motion to do so.
Madam Chair, yeah, happy to make the motion. I'm not sure procedurally what motion I'm making, except I don't know if you want us to discharge this back to council at this point with no recommendation, so it can be withdrawn.
Councilman Gale, Council President was raising her hand and she actually knows of the motion, so yes, she'll be able to proceed. But I thank you for offering.
Yeah, the motion was to postpone. Sorry, the motion is to postpone this item.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No, hearing no discussion.
Well, I'll offer a quick discussion on the
certainly go ahead.
Since you've made the representation that Councilwoman Rosado is interested in withdrawing, I just want to indicate that I don't think that this is any indication that the concept is going away. I do think that it is likely that what's needed here is some more study, some more information gathering, and perhaps coming back with something that's a little bit better thought through, better planned, with input from our public works, with input from the downtown residents, downtown businesses, and neighborhoods and NRZs, et cetera. So I do think that this is something that we will continue to look at. I know I personally think that as the city grows, these are the types of amenities I think at some point in time that people who live in cities look for, and so we're going to need to take a look at it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other discussion?
I guess through you, Madam Chair, I definitely want to echo what Councilman Gale said regarding, living in the urban area. But as you know, this term has just begun, and as we go through our budget process in the next couple of weeks, I do agree that going forward in the future, who was going to maintain the area? Those are questions we need to work with the community groups downtown to see if they would like that to happen. Who's, the costs, are they going to go out and, get some sponsorship regarding supporting a dog park? I do know those are the amenities that people living in the urban areas, but at the same time, we're going through a budget process right now. Our funds or revenues and our expenses are very tight. And so, working through this in the next couple of months, next year or so, with a better proposal, that's why I recommend postponing the item, since the maker of the resolution would like to withdraw it for further discussion.
Thank you. I'd also like to add that I attended the PrAC meeting last night, and they sent me correspondence today. And it was for disapproval. They were not in support of this resolution. So they did share that, and we do have it on the record if anybody would like to see that email. So with that said, all those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
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 Okay, we move to postpone the item. Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item, 2.2, a presentation by Mike McGarry proposing a design of a new park monument. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
Thank you. I'll proceed then. Some years ago, 1995, way back then, the Hartford, City of Hartford, it's all in the writing here, you can see this, but we put together, John O'Connell, Mayor Mike, myself, and the rest of the council decided to have a monument, kind of putting our face forward to our sister city. And previous to that, money was raised for some of the things in New Russ from here to there. So a very close relationship to the Kennedy Trust and different Irish organizations. So that monument was built. Sad to say, it was ruined by, let's say, vandals, I guess, in the area of Wexford Park. And to the degree where it really shouldn't stay there, because as I was measuring the piece I'm going to show you, as I was measuring it, someone was vandalizing right behind me with spray paint. So after discussions with previous public works director, I don't know if people have seen this. This is the picture of the disaster of this monument. The brass was stolen, all kinds of curse words and other things were put all over the monument, trash, rat holes, pretty rough situation. So the kind of decision was then, the Looney at the time, Michael Looney, to bring it across the way to protect it because there's 6 lanes of traffic and that's never been spray painted across the way. And that's a pretty sad piece of land right now where it's going to go. But I have a plan. I've been involved with this stuff for a long time. I've talked to professionals in the field. Take this area is a park right across from it. It has never been used for anything, and replant it. And there's a modestly priced plan to replant the whole thing and make it worthwhile. Right now, through most of the summer, into the fall, into the winter, walk by this and it's all weeds, some litter, and so on. The plan that I come up with, working with professionals, is to build something that needs very little maintenance. So the idea is to move the monument across the way and rebuild it. I think you all have the packet in front of you to see. Yeah, and what would be on it would be things that go way back. For example, I have a copy of the original trip to New Russ. Dan Carey, Mayor Mike, I think majority of council, Elizabeth was there, Nick was there, Noel were there, along with myself and O'Connell. So we actually went there in '94 to establish this relationship. And it followed through even a couple of years ago, the New Russ people even backed it up. There's now a good relationship with them. And in June, we have 24 golfers coming. And we'll have 24 golfers and the Kennedy Cup will continue. I wish I had a picture of the Kennedy Cup. It's like this, done in Waterford glass. We won it a few years ago. It was in Bond's window, her showcase. So anyway, we still have a relationship with them. They were here for the parade, back and forth with them with the design of the actual brass and Victor's monument. Here's the design. The original design in '94 was just furlong. But since that time, Hartford's small investment helped open the monies to the EU, open the monies to the Irish government, and all these things have been done since then. They have this famous statue of Kennedy, you can shake his hand. The homestead, Kennedy Homestead, now is a visitor center, is quite nice. The Dumbrody now is a very famous replica of a famine ship. So all that we've been involved in one way or another, and many people have gone and seen it and taken through there. In fact, you're all invited whenever you get it together to go back. We have a very good relationship with these guys. There's been many, many back and forths over the years. The famous jazz musician Nat Reeves has been there with several groups of Hartford musicians that have gone over there. And there's business going on now at various levels through the Irish American business community. So these tie-ins have been good for both sides. They worked out pretty well. we come up with a budget, and this was originally a city responsibility. So that's why I guess I come back to the city to fulfill the responsibility, but also to take an area that now is kind of wasted, never been used for anything. Many people walk by that area on the way to the ballpark. And right now, of course, it's kind of embarrassing us that on one side is a lot of graffiti, on the other side is a bunch of weeds. Let's hope the graffiti can be worked with. But I want to thank Public Works for doing some cleanup since this came up. And some of that's gone now, we hope. Certainly, it looks a lot better than it did. But it's a constant threat to have it done again. No way to control it. The original idea from Councilman Cotto was they would have a small area for graffiti art. Well, that didn't work out so well. So anyway, especially with the rat holes and the trash and all that. So anyway, moving across the way, the plan would be to put in a very simple planting. There's space right now. The simple planting of the two colors, and these are the colors, gold and purple. You gotta turn your head sideways to kind of see it. But anyway, what we would do is take all the weeds out and everything, and have volunteers to do that. Plant it with plants that represent New Ross. Put grow cloth down so the weeds wouldn't come through, and then put mulch on top of that. And keep an eye on it. The maintenance would be very low, because if we did it correctly, and I'll tell you, make sure it's done correctly, that's what I do as a hobby, and we would have something really beautiful. If you go up the next slide, you'll see what it will look like. Yeah, it'll look like that. The monument rebuilt with the colored pictures in the middle and the beautiful plantings and trees trimmed. I think it'll be a real addition to the city. And what we plan to do, we hope if it all works out okay, is to actually use it for several ceremonies when the golf people get here. All the 24 golf players, our golf players, the council, anybody wants. I have a friend who will put tent up, of the ceremony, we'll do an unveiling. So there'll be a groundbreaking where all the work will be done, I hope. And then there'll be a ceremony after that. And that will make sure that's available to people who would come in at their own expense to put together, use it as a gathering spot right in the middle of downtown, which right now there's not much for that kind of thing, especially in that area. So that's about it. I have one other picture I want to show. Can we show this? This shows you kind of some of the relations we've had. That's our theme song that goes, The Boys of Wexford, that goes along with our great tie-ins with them. You'll hear that music sung when the guys come from Ireland. They usually take over the establishment or two and sing the songs. Hopefully everybody comes and joins in. So we have an ongoing relationship. I was there a year ago, working with them to make sure the wording was right, the pictures were correct. We're back and forth a half a dozen times. So the appropriate people in New Ross are very happy with this. And I hope the council is. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Does anyone have questions for Mike?
Just one question, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councilman, ex-Councilman McGarry, your previous councilman, he's still a councilman, he still participates so much with us. How long ago was the Sister City program with Wexford started?
It was started in the late 80s under Mayor Perry. It came to fruition in 92, and the money was raised for the Kennedy Trust. And it was a stamp of approval was put on in 94 when we went over there. It's been going on back and forth ever since.
Right.
We golf tournaments, some music things, business and all that.
Right. Thank you. So it's been a long established.
Yeah. I'd love to see the sister cities come back. They kind of faded away around the year 2000, I guess. And it's not that difficult to do it again in other cities and so on. There are no other cities now with official recognition other than New Ross.
I think through the Councilwoman Milladu, I think she's working on that, right, Councilwoman?
Yep, we're working to make that relationship strong again. I think, you know, it's been built, it's been continued over the years. So we will just continue to try and make that relationship stronger between the two cities. And it shows when they fly all this way to come and participate in our parade and come here for the annual golf event every other year. I think that we're very fortunate to have that relationship. So I look forward to continuing it, and I appreciate everybody's support that has helped us. Mike, you've done a great job of that over the years. So thank you so much. Anything else? Okay, I'd also like to welcome PrAC Chair Naisha McCauley. She came on while the presentation was going on, so I just want to welcome her. And because the presentation was related to item 2.3, we're going to take those together. We do have Director Chris Hayes here from Public Works, who will be speaking to item 2.3. By Councilwoman Kelly Bilodeau, Council President Shirley Sturgeon, Majority Leader Marilyn Rossetti, and Assistant Majority Leader Thomas Clark II. Resolution establishing that a refurbished monument of Matthew Furlong be erected at the east end of New Ross County Wexford Park, located on Main Street. So I welcome you, Chris.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. At this time, Public Works supports the relocation of the monument. We believe a number of the items or the tasks required to both move the statue and to beautify the park are things that can happen in-house by the Public Works team, whether it be utilizing our masons and facilities or our gardener. And some of the items that were noted by Mr. McGarry that could be done by volunteers. There is an agreement between the city and volunteer groups of how we can utilize both unionized personnel and volunteers to help make that an impactful project. The plantings that have been proposed are all low maintenance plantings that require little watering. And with community support, we feel that this would be an appropriate use of this currently unused space, and that it could prove to be a safer and better area for the monument.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Do we have any discussion on this item?
Through you, Madam President. The resolution calls for the monument to be done. Is there a timeline for this to be done before the Kennedy Cup, which is what month? In June, July?
So the Kennedy Cup is supposed to take place in the end of June. And I think in speaking with Mike that we were hoping to get this project underway in the month of May.
So through you, Madam Chair,
so, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they could even start it before then once you've gone through the council. Once the council has a final vote on it, we'll start immediately doing some of the prep work.
Through you, Madam Chair, our director, Mr. Hayes, by doing some of the, prep work or the work that needs to be done that the city could do, for you with the upcoming summer, spring, summer, use of all the parks and everything else, would you have sufficient staff to get all this done in the next month or so before the Kennedy Cup takes off?
We would like to hope so. The only factor in that will be the actual moving of the statue for the masonry bed that would have to be placed for the movement of the monument. That would require temperatures that would have to be right around 50 degrees, even in the evening, could be in the high 40s, but those temperatures would be more of a May move of the actual monument. The other pieces can occur prior to that, but the physical move could be delayed by weather.
Great. So again, through you, Madam Chair, would the monument be ready in time for the move? If it's ordered, I don't know if you've ordered it or, you
It's all
know,
set to go. All it needs is a final council approval and be done in the week.
The
Thank you,
physical,
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
the
Go ahead,
physical
Chris.
stone, the physical stone is the same stone that is in the pictures, just cleaned free of graffiti. During our last graffiti cleaning effort, a majority of that was already removed. So the stone looks like it will be able to be reused in the new location.
That's what I was gonna ask. Do we feel it's in good enough shape that we can put a new plaque on that and it will be able to hold that on there without
Yeah,
deterioration?
just as a note, I forgot to mention this. Mr. Trophy looked at why it got stolen. It was not, whoever put it together last time just did it with glue, which is not appropriate. There's a screws, Chris would know the nomenclature, but there's screws you can put in that once you put them in, they can't be taken off. And it will probably will never be taken off again if those appropriate fixtures, right, Chris, whatever you call them? Appropriate fixtures get in there and tightened up so they can't be taken out. But when you look at, you can see what happened last time. If you look at what was left, pretty sad job gluing it on. So we're not gonna make that mistake again, I hope.
Madam Chair, just have one last question through you, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
To Director Hayes, is there anything that can be put over the, you know, spending and doing a new plaque for that area and, you know, make true vandalism? Is there anything that's put over it or sprayed on it, whatever that will be, to help alleviate, you know, the spray paint in the future over this plaque?
Through you, Madam Chair, there are coatings that can be applied, though they normally need to be reapplied on an annual basis. At this time, our recommendation would be to work with the local vendor to see what they recommend for the plaque itself. The stone, we have the removal capability to, or the graffiti removal capability to handle that. I think the greater issue is making sure that the plaque is not, or is tamper resistant, which would be our plan to have it affixed in such a way, like other plaques throughout the city, where it could not be easily removed.
So through you, Madam Chair, so Director, you'll be working with the company that is producing plaque?
And our facilities team here within DPW, including our masons, to properly affix.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I do have a question. So annually, this parcel will need maintenance like other parks. And I know, you know, we have volunteers that are going to work on this project along with Public Works. Do we have also volunteers that will be working in the future to maintain this parcel?
Yeah,
or
we
is it
will.
just going to be maintained solely by the Department of Public Works?
I think it'll be a team effort. When you say, Chris, we'll keep an eye on it. You see something we report for Public Works. There's something minor like a little bit of trash. Hopefully a number of people just pick it up or report it. Needs to be picked up. Would that be correct, Chris?
It is, this park is already considered a park, a municipal park within the city of Hartford. It's an area that has had some maintenance challenges, but it is certainly back on the radar for our DPW team. And there have been a number of discussions, both at the end of Mike Looney's tenure and my time here. So we expect maintenance of this area to be up at what we would consider to be an acceptable level moving forward. If we find that the plant beds need that reoccurring care, DPW would recommend that a friends group be considered. So even if it's not a large group, a small group of dedicated citizens would be willing to help on a biannual effort.
Thank you, Chris. And Mike, just to you, do you feel that you have a group like that that could be supportive going forward?
Like, she has a question.
I'm sorry.
Mike, do you
Yes.
feel you have a group that could be supportive going forward to volunteer and help with the maintenance if we ever have those needs?
Yes, yeah. It was very low maintenance. We discussed it. If we do it right, the maintenance will be minimal.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
I mean, yes, I have half a dozen groups that have got interest, as I have listed. And between the golfers, the Rotary, the Knights of Columbus, Hartford Blooms, all the people we need for what minimal maintenance will be needed, and most of it by Public Works. Like I say, it's like any other park. But I guess we keep an eye on it. I would drive by there every day. And I think, well, yeah, we can easily handle it if need be. Again, low maintenance is the key, and that was the whole idea of the shrubs rather than annuals. And you plant them once, trim them once in a while, and that's about it.
Very good. Thank you so much. Do we have any other discussion? Go ahead, Councilman Gale.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. McGarry, thank you for your efforts in this regard. I think what the director, though, is pointing to, while everybody appreciates your efforts, when you're planning things for the future, you don't want to rely on one person. You're not going to be here forever, Mike. And so I think what the director was talking about is a friends group, like, various parks have a friends group that has a perpetual lifespan. Friends of Bushnell Park isn't relying on one person anymore to be driving by to pick up Bushnell Park. And so I think the encouragement for you is to look around with all the various folks that who are interested in this monument, who want to continue to support that relationship, and see, over time, maybe you can create a little friends group. I think that's what the director was suggesting.
I should have mentioned that Paul McBride, who heads up the golf committee, they'll take it under their wing. I forgot to mention that. So the golf group will hopefully last forever, lasted now almost 30 years. The golf group will take it under the wing. They'll show up to help with the work, and they're a permanent group. So putting a friends group together would be a good idea. If Chris thinks it's necessary, we'll do that.
I'm not sure whether it's a question of necessity or whether it's a question of desire. If you're
Either way, we'll take it.
and interested,
We'll take it.
Yeah, and Director Hayes, just one question for you. I understand from the presentation that this is all going to be done in the current budget cycle, so that we're not looking, nothing that we're talking about here is going to be impacting the fiscal year 25 budget that we're about to start discussing.
That's correct.
Okay,
thank you. I have no other questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. Move for the motion to send back to council a favorable recommendation on item 2.3.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Do we have any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes to send the resolution back to council for with a favorable recommendation. Thank you all so much. And that would conclude our meeting, as we have no other items on the agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, very good. We have a second?
Second.
All right. The
I
meeting
think
is adjourned.
Chair, you have
Everybody
the power, Chair, to just end the meeting.
Yes.
Oh, no, I wanted to be proper. I wanted to second
Absolutely.
Councilman Gale.
All right.
All right, thank you all so much. I hope you have a great evening.
And happy
Likewise.
Easter, everyone.
Take
Yes,
care.
happy Easter to everyone.
Good night. Goodbye.
Good night.